morning. There's a great spring day here in the Lowveld. Birds are singing, sun is shining, the grass is growing. Het gaan lekker hier. Vanoggend het ek 'n paar goedjies waaroor ek wil praat. Daar's dinge aan die gang in Europa wat regtig, as ek in Europa gebly het, was ek vandag 'n bekommerde man gewees. Daai plek is op pad na 'n lelike plek toe. Ek dink die groot probleem wat die Europeërs mee sit, en hulle besef dit nie, is daai immigrante wat so instroom. Ek sien daar's nou weer bote vol op pad van Tunesië af Italië toe. Ek weet nie hoe dink daai Europeërs gaan hulle hierdie ding oorleef nie. All of a sudden, in a very civilized society, there is a high number of people that don't have the same values. They don't have the same cultural values, and they don't operate at the same civilization level. And I'm so fed up for all this woke shit around cultures and civilization and things. You cannot tell me that a guy that was born in the 50s in Rome and grew up in Rome under that cultural environment has got the same values as a guy that was born in the middle in North Africa and grew up there. So they're not the same. The most biggest difference is that the average European has got a built-in resistance meter that controls the levels to which he is willing to go. And I'm talking about levels of violence, which those immigrants don't have that. You must understand, in their societies, killing and raping and things like that is a daily occurrence. And it's part of their culture, part of their environment. So why would they act differently when they're in Europe? They won't. So the Europeans are in for a rough ride as far as I'm concerned. They are going to experience what we are living with every day here in South Africa. That is what's going to happen to them. Die tyre gaan die teerslaat vir hulle. En hulle gaan jump. Jy moet maar daai like knoppies druk hoor, laat ons kyk of YouTube nie vir die mense laat weet hier's 'n show aan nie. Anders sit en praat ek hier met die wind. In elk geval. Ja, so die immigrante ding gaan 'n lelike ding wees. En dan is dit vir my ook nogal sterend as ek kyk na die uitlatings wat daai Ursula van der Crazy maak. Yes, like. If you look at it objectively, right in front of our eyes, the EU is turning into a communist environment. The old USSR is being replicated now. So the EU is the Western version of the USSR. And if you differ from me, feel welcome to post that, complain about it, take me on. But look at what's happening there. That Brussels cabal is laying down rules and implementing things that are constraining people's rights. But they just do it. And you must understand the big issue here That crazy cabal in Brussels has never been elected by any citizen. They had an installed politburo, and the citizens can do nothing about it. You just have to take it. But the warning signs were there, clear for everybody to see. But people are too woke, too happy to not make waves and just take the shit. Now the Europeans are facing serious issues. I saw another post last night about the firewood thing. That is almost hilarious. If it wasn't so tragic, we could have laughed about it. Because what the hell? In 2022, big stories on the news about firewood in Europe. And I saw an article yesterday. The European aluminium producers are shutting down one by one. Think about it. The industries in Germany is huge consumers of aluminium. What is going to happen there? But Van der Kruijse has stated it many times. Germany must be deindustrialized. And I spoke about it in one of my Skidmarks, the fact that the Americans, they have engineered this crash of Europe. They engineered it because they score from it. And then last night I saw a post where the American shale miners or whatever, or explorers or whatever you want to call them, said to Europe, listen, we're not going to be able to provide you with LPG gas. There is nothing for us to send to you. So they're not going to be bailed out. So Europe sits there. They cut themselves off from their major gas and oil supplier on instructions from Washington. And now the shit is hitting the fan. And the Americans said, Willie, just relax, sorry, we can't provide. And what's going to happen? Europe is in for a rough ride, really a rough ride. And it's not going to go well. And then there is this. Germany's power grid faces collapse as millions stock up on inefficient electric heaters for the winter. Will the EU energy bill price caps lead to higher energy consumption this winter? And now, as far as that price caps is concerned, I have read articles. It seems like Van der Kruijse has abandoned that idea, but now they come up with a new one. We will develop with the member states a set of measures to take into account the specific nature of our relationship with suppliers, ranging from unreliable suppliers such as Russia to reliable friends, the European Commission President said in a keynote speech. What the fuck is that? What is that? They come up with the scariest and most crazy ideas of how to get themselves out of this shithole into which they jumped willingly. And then there's this. The European Commission plans to advise the EU to cut funding to Hungary due to concerns about corruption in the country. What cock is that? Defunding Hungary. Why is it? Because Viktor Orban is not dancing to their tunes. But let's see where that shit is going to end. And then I saw this, which was very disturbing. Children in the US are now being taught porn literacy. Idaho school shows porn in the form of cartoons to make the process more enjoyable. The desire to sexualize children in Europe and the US crosses all boundaries. What the hell is that? What is the parents thinking? I cannot understand. Imagine that. Children are now being taught porn literacy. Children, porn literacy. You don't even use those two things in the same sentence. Fuck, boys. We are in deep shit. And then we've got this. And this is something that I just laughed. Ursula von der crazy again. Putin will fail, Europe will triumph, and the EU solidarity with Ukraine is unshakable. Now is time for determination and not appeasement. Update. EU sanctions against Russia will remain in force until its economy is torn apart, and EU preparing proposal to limit gas prices depending on level of relationship with supplier countries. Now, guys, that is a heap of shit. And that shit train is running full speed through Europe. And van der Crazy is stoking that fire. But where is it going to end? All I know is from here where I sit in South Africa, the European citizens are going to suffer like hell. But that concludes my Thursday Thorns. Those are the things that I picked up during the night, which really disturbs me. And every person that has interest in survival, better look at that. Môre, ja, Alberto, dis waar. Orban praat teen hulle en nou gee hulle hom hel en hulle gaan hom nou op die geld druk. Desert G, môre? Nee man, jy kan die ding in elk geval rewind en kyk dit wat jy gemis het. Ek sit nou hier in die Laagveld en ek kyk hier deur my venster en ek sien die seisoen draai. Maar fuck it boys. Daai ouens in Europa gaan klippe kak as jy my vra. Ja, okay, ek sal probeer om my heads up vroeër te laat gaan. Ek spartel nog rond om vir my die regte plekkie te kry en die regte tyd te kry. Ja, ek sal dit bietjie langer vooruit laat adverteer en kyk of dit gaan werk. Ek probeer ook die regte tydgleef vind waar meer mense kan kyk en meer gemakliker is. Ek het nou al 1 uur in die middag getraai en ek het nou al 12 uur getraai en ek het nou al laat aand getraai en ek wou gisteraand een geprobeer het hier so by 8 uur, maar toe het ek internetprobleme. Ja, maar ja, en daai ouens in Europa, wat my aan betref, is hulle besig om blindelings slagpale toe te loop en ek kan dit nie verstaan nie. Ek het altyd gedog die Europeërs, jy weet, ek in my mind, ja, dis intelligente mense en hulle is beskaafd en al sulke goed, maar fuck, as ek kyk wat hulle nou toelaat, en hoe blindelings hulle agter daai EC in Brussels aanloop. Ek kan die mense nie sien dat Europa besig is om te ontaard in 'n, jy weet, die ou USSR, die westerse model van die ou USSR. Kommuniste. Daai crowd wat daar sit in Brussels, hulle word gekies deur niemand nie. Niemand het hulle gekies nie, niemand het vir hulle gestem nie. Maar die fok weet hulle het power hoor. En dit, as hulle nie genoeg power het nie, dan vat hulle net eenvoudig nog power. En die publiek vat dit net. Die bevolking sit en kyk, hoe word hulle slagpale toegestuur, want dit lyk my hulle like dit. En as ek kyk, jy weet, hierdie ding oor die vuurmaakhout is vir my, yes, dit is 'n joke. In 2022 is vuurmaakhout 'n moerse issue in Europa. Ja, hier by ons is vuurmaakhout 'n groot ding, want ons fucking braai hoor. Maar ja, daai Europeërs, en nou sit daai ouens wat daar in die stede sit, waar gaan hulle daai hout gebruik? Hulle het mos nie meer kaggels nie. Hulle bou mos nie meer kaggels in 'n nuwe woonstelblokke en sulke goed nie. So dit lyk my hy wanneer saam met vir hulle gaan konkas kry, dat hulle kan boulas maak. En die volgende as die winter sterk is, dan hoor hoe so gaan die ouens weer dood van koolstof vergiftiging. Ja, Alberto, hulle gaan nie vier nie, maar daai donners weet nie hoe om te braai nie. Hulle weet nie hoe om te braai nie. Hulle moet hiernatoe kom. Ja, dit sal 'n goeie plan wees vir jou pelle daar in die UK, want die volk weet, hulle gaan koud kry daaroor. Maar ek het gesien, ek het dit in een van my Skidmarks gedoen, die Russe, daar is so een of ander Russiese toeragentskap wat baie clever is. En nou hierdie campaign uitgestuur in Europa in vir die mense om op wintertoere te kom Rusland toe. Want hulle het genoeg warm water en hulle het hitte en hulle het lig. En die ouens kan lekker kom kuier en nie te worry oor koud kry nie. En ek sien nou in Istanbul is die hotelle ook besig om so 'n kampanje te run. En hulle blykbaar verwag hulle omtrent 1 miljoen toeriste van Duitsland af. Want dit gaan daai Duitser minder kos om in 'n hotel te bly in Istanbul met 3 etes en geen issue met die elektrisiteit en hitte nie. Dit gaan hom minder kos as wat sy energierekening gaan wees in Duitsland. So how crazy is that for people to, you have to go on a holiday to Russia or to Turkey in the winter so that you don't freeze to death in your own country. Kyk boys, hier by ons in Suid-Afrika, hier gaan dinge op mekaar oor. En ek sien nou weer, hulle maak 'n moerse storie van daai Jagersfontein ding. Ek dink die ouens moet wag tot al die feite uit is, voor hulle self commit. Want, soos ek gister gesê het, ek het op die myne groot geword. Shit happens hoor. En slukdamme is 'n probleem. Maar soos ek gister ook gesê het, die groot probleem waarmee ons sit, daai myninspektoraat is basically ontbind en al sy tande is uitgetrek. Dit was een van die eerste goed wat hulle gedoen het, hierdie zaffers. Want hulle like mos nie om opgecheck te word nie. En daai myninspekteure, ek het ook dan deur gebly ook in die Noord-Natal myninspekteur kantoor, hoofkantoor was daar in Dundee. En daai inspekteurs het gesorg dat die dinge reg gaan op die myne. Ek weet, my pa was mynbestuurder. Jesus, hy was op sy senuwees as hy weer die inspekteurs kom hoor. En dan het jy nog daai surprise visits van die inspekteurs gehad. Maar ons weet mos nou al. Hierdie zaffers van ons, hulle like nie daarvan om opgecheck te word nie. They don't like to be disciplined, they don't like to be to be pointed in the correct direction, everything is racist. And we've got exactly the same problem in the education system. They disbanded the inspectorate, and look at the situation now today, what it's like in the schools. Ja, dis wat ek ook sê. En as jy na die foto's kyk van daai dam, net voor hy gegaan het, daai wal lyk vir my sterk en goed hoor. En ek laat my nie vertel, 'n mynmaatskappy sal met so 'n ding reckless wees nie. Daar het iets verkeerd geloop daar. Nou, ek is nou nie 'n kenner op sulke damme nie. But as far as if I look at the situation there, I've got a suspicion that there was a lot of water trapped under in the bottom of that dam. Now, normally these dams, they have pipes and stuff in to make sure that you don't get a water buildup, because the big aim of those dams is to allow the slurry to settle to the bottom. That's why they call them settling ponds also. To settle, and the water is at the top and you can take the water up. But sometimes some of that water can get trapped at the bottom. And I think that is most probably one of the things that happened there. Ja, nee, ek wonder ook hoe gaan Europa oor Kersfees lyk. Ja, gaan nie liggies wees nie. Maar kyk, selfs by ons. Ons het ook nie eintlik meer liggies nie, want die fok weet, ons het ook nie eintlik krag om van te praat nie. Môre Michelle. Ek sal hom nou maar 'n bietjie vandag 'n bietjie laat gaan en kyk wie ouens wil praat, maar julle moet maar my vrae stuur, want ek het nou my storieetjies gesê wat ek wou sê. En daar's baie dinge waaroor ek kan praat. Een van die groot dinge is hierdie ding wat in Kherson gebeur, ag nie Kherson nie, in Kharkiv gebeur het in Oekraïne. Ja, dit het ons ouens wat die Russe ondersteun bloedbek gegee en stilgeslaan. Maar nou laat die feite begin uitkom, kan 'n ou sien, jy weet. Dit was eintlik ek weet nie hoe om dit te noem nie, maar dit was 'n bolsap geweest. Die Oekraïners dit lyk asof die Russe hulle uitgelok het en in 'n trap in laat loop het. Want as jy nou kyk, ek gisterand na ouens gesit en luister wat sê die grootste fout wat die Oekraïners gemaak is, hulle het hulle mense uit Bakhmut uit getrek daarna Kharkiv toe. En by Bakhmut was daai ouens goed ingegrawe in loopgrawe en in bunkers en sulke goed. En toe hulle nou daar waar hulle nou is hulle op die oop vlakte en die Russe roei vir hulle uit hoor. But the thing that really pisses me off is the media. The Western media is pushing that Kharkiv thing as if it is something out of this world, the most miraculous and spectacular onslaught. And those guys were actually punching breeze. And now they're paying. But interesting for me, and I see more and more videos of the soldiers that are the Ukrainian soldiers that are there now. Yeah, the citizens say those people speak English. So it is more proof that NATO and the Americans are more present there than we imagine. I'm just waiting for the day that the Russians start shooting those command and control centers in Kiev and Lvov. They start blowing those things apart. I listened to a debate one night a few weeks ago, and the guy said the reason the Russians are not doing it because they know those centers are full of high-ranking NATO officers and American officers. And they don't want to escalate, but we're sitting now with a problem. We're sitting with a problem there, and that is that The Russians keep on warning the West to stop giving these sophisticated arms to the Ukrainians, but they do nothing about it. And the shooting of the electricity supply system on Sunday night was now a shock. And now the West wants to make the Russians out as if they are, the Satan in the story. But the reality is, the Ukrainians has been bombing Donetsk citizens and citizen infrastructure since 2014, for 8 years. And they are still doing it today. As me and you are talking here, they are shooting bombs into Donetsk. Yes, that story about the car crash in which Zelensky was. Well, wait for more information. Apparently the fucker escaped without a scratch, which is a pity, but the driver of the other car is apparently critical. And at the same time, I read that one of Putin's limousines was also blown up, almost at the same time. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it looks like the heat is building up. And then that dam that the Russians bombed last night, that is creating major issues now for the Ukraine army, because apparently one of their supply routes is now, they can't use it, so they must use a detour. And that detour is 250 kilometers longer. So it was a logistical decision by the Russians to blow that dam. And I don't know where it's going to end, but I think it is time for the Russians to get more aggressive. And in the Kherson environment, they are doing more, how can I say, brutal war things, because there's not so many hiding places, and it's open field, and it seems to me it's almost like our Free State, grass fields. So the Russians has got a group, the Wagner group. Seems to me that they are, I can't really figure it out yet, but it looks to me it's almost something like we had here, that executive outcome. The Wagner group consists out of retired Russian special forces and things like that. And the Wagner group has got a contract with the Kremlin. And they are now fighting at Bakhmut. And they're smoking those Ukrainians out there. And it was in one of those posts that I saw that someone noted that yesterday, that was yesterday afternoon, that it is now quite obvious the Ukrainians pulled a lot of their people from Bakhmut into Kharkiv to support that onslaught they made there, punching the wind. And now they're short on manpower in Bakhmut. And the commentators reckon that if Bakhmut falls, once Bakhmut goes down, the Ukrainian army is going to be in serious problems, short supply. So I think it's building up steam. But the issue around Odessa intrigues me. I saw a clip yesterday of two fat girls with purple hair painting, a statue, painting, with red paint. And the comments on Telegram there was not nice. Ja, Michelle, ek dink die Amerikaners daar in die kakhuis sit met hulle hande in hulle hare hoor. Want dinge loop nie so lekker uit vir hulle soos hulle gedink het dit gaan werk nie. Kyk, die pers kan nou maar 'n groot storie maak oor hierdie Kherson ekspedisie, maar hoe langer die dae omgaan, hoe meer feite kom uit en jy kan sien, dit was nou regtig 'n spoeg in die wind. Want daar was nie regtig Russiese soldate nie. En al daai video's het hulle wys oor die Kwansy toerusting wat die Russe gelos het. Dis bullshit. Dis goed wat geneem is in 2014 en ou materiaal en sulke goeters. Ek het geluister na 'n praatjie waar 'n soldaat gepraat het wat sê hulle het omtrent niks teenstand gehad nie en dit was vir hulle vreemd. Maar die ding vir die Amerikaners, kyk, ek dink hulle kak braai nou uit hoor. Hierdie hele groot geveg, die stories wat die pers vir ons wil laat glo, dit klou nie. Want nes hulle dink, okay, nou het ons die killer storie dan. So rukkie dan kom daar goed uit wat daar gate deur die ding skiet. En vir my, en ek het al oor dit gepraat, vir my, ek is vasoortuig daarvan, die Amerikaners het hierdie ding mooi beplan, hoe om Europa 'n derde wêreld te maak. Want as jy gaan kyk na die onderliggende goed, wie skor op hierdie stadium? Amerika skor. Want hoe meer die Europese industrie en ekonomie afgaan, hoe minder oppositie het die Amerikaners. En soos ek gesê het, ek het vanoggend gesien, hulle het nou Amerikaners, daai gasproducers het gesê, sorry Europa, ons het nie vir julle gas nie. Ons kan julle nie help nie. Nou ja, ek weet nie wat dink hierdie, Marai van der Kruisie, sy maak asof sy alles onder beheer het. Ek wonder baie keer, daai vrou, hoe het dit gebeur? Dis wat ek wil weet. Hoe het dit gebeur dat Europa so kommunisties geraak het voor ons oë? Daar sit daai kabal daar in Brussels, hulle slaan die kitaar, hulle was nooit verkies nie, en hulle is nie verantwoordbaar nie. Hulle maak beslissings wat miljoene mense se lewens opvolg. Ja, ek het dit gelees Alberto, die Wagner groep, en dis hoekom ek sê, hulle is vir my maar baie soos wat, onthou julle daai executive outcomes wat ons gehad het. Dit was, dis maar dieselfde tipe van ding. Dis professionele soldate daai. Hulle veg nie regtig vir 'n land nie, hulle veg vir 'n paycheck. En hulle is goed hoor. Daai ouens is goed. Hulle weet wat hulle doen. Ek dink die Oekraïners gaan swaar kry. Maar wat vir my verstom is, dat daar steeds mense is wat vasoortuig is, glo, Oekraïne kan wen. En in een van die debatte wat ek nou geluister het, het die ouens gepraat en gesê, there is no way that the USA or NATO would be able to survive a loss in Ukraine. Hoe gaan jy bietjie Moskou toe, Michelle? Kyk, ek sien baie video's, kyk baie video's van videobloggers oor Rusland en so. Eerlikheid, dis vir my opvallend daai stede van hulle, hoe mooi skoon is daai stede en georden is daai stede. En dit lyk vir my, jy weet, ek sien die mense en vrouens en kindertjies en almal loop in die strate rond en so. Dis soos hier by ons nie. Fok weet jy moet versigtig wees hier as jy strate toe gaan. Maar die ouens het baie stories oor Rusland. And they make big stories about it. And yeah, in the end, I don't know. We are being fed bullshit all the time. Ek sien dat Ramaphosa is op pad kakhuis toe en hy gaan na die begrafnis toe. Ek weet nie hoekom nie. Wat dom. Wat soek hy daar? Yes, you are right. The West has lost. But they are struggling to reposition themselves. And they think they're going to fight themselves out of this corner. They're not going to be able to fight themselves out of this corner. The rest of the world has woken up and has realized what's going on. I did a Skidmark again yesterday on Yemen. What is happening in Yemen is absolutely an atrocity. And the West is directly involved there. And somebody made a comment on that Skidmark that they are that Saudi-led terrorists. That's what I'm going to call them. They also are destroying the Yemeni cultural heritage sites. It is as if they are planning and trying to wipe the Yemen population off the map, cancel them. Same thing that the fuckers are doing to the Afrikaners here in South Africa, trying to destroy our culture, trying to destroy our history. But it seems to me that the Iranians are supporting the Yemenis well, and they are giving them a lot of weapons. But now I saw a clipping where a lot of French soldiers were. The story there in Yemen is they're stealing the oil and the gas. That's what they're doing. They're just stealing the oil and the gas. And they did it here in Zimbabwe, still doing it. Who the fuck is getting the information? Okay, it seems to me I lost my connection. Well, there my connection took a dip. For fuck's sake, I'm so fed up with this shit now. For many years, I had a solid, stable connection, and lately, the past few days, actually last 2, maybe 3 weeks, I have this problem every now and then. The connection fails, and the upload speeds drops down to almost zero. Last night when I published that Skidmark, where it normally takes about 20 minutes for me to upload a Skidmark, that thing took 1 hour and 48 minutes. And I've spoken to the ISP this morning and I haven't had feedback from them yet. But then on the other hand, we must also understand that the South African infrastructure is fucked as it is. There's everything. The things that are still working are in private hands, and that's it. But whenever you need to have any dependency on a central thing, you're in deep shit. Yeah, Alberto, I'm worried. And you guys must please, that skid marks that I've done on Yemen, please share those things. Let's try and get it out as far as we can. Because what is going on there is really, really bad. And I am looking at what the Russians are doing. Can you imagine, with the relationship between Russia and Iran building up as it is, and the next move, you see Wagner players in Yemen. That will be interesting. Because I saw the other day, I saw an article in one of the Central African states that in their capital city, they erected a massive monument. So, yeah, the Russians are also busy. But in this case, you know, at least the Russians are fighting for the people. Where the fucking Americans and the West, they fight for the corporates. And that is making me sick. I'm getting fed up with it. I don't know why. Yeah, this net zero shit is going to a lot of people are going to be zeroed with that thing. That's all I know. That kite's not going to fly. The information I've got here on one of the Skidmarks that I'm busy working on, let me find it and read it to you. One electric car battery, 500 tons of ore to refine 25 pounds of lithium, 900 to 1,000 gallons of fuel to move the ore. Lithium is refined by using sulfuric acid. The mine at Thacker Pass requires 75 semi-loads of acid a day. One electric battery for a Tesla requires 25 pounds of lithium, 60 pounds of nickel, 44 pounds of manganese, 30 pounds of cobalt, 200 pounds of copper, 400 pounds of aluminum, steel, and plastic. To produce one battery takes tremendous amounts of energy supplied by coal, nuclear, or gas-fired power plants. If you believe this is green energy, trouble. And that is the reality. And that is something that MSN won't publish that shit. This green thing is really going to turn into a pitch black night. So I'm not completely with you on that jingoism thing there. 906H2. The reality is, Yemen people, with the fucking sanctions from the West, they can't get medicine, they can't get food, and these sanctions shit is something that must end, because they're using that sanctions to destroy nations. Just look at what the sanctions did to Venezuela and to Iran and to Yemen and to Syria, all of these. And the sanctions is actually a weapon of mass destruction. And the West just shut their mouths and keep quiet and not saying anything. And they carry on with their sanctions. They don't publish how those sanctions are destroying people. And I saw that little chick from Finland yesterday saying that the sanctions must be turned up and maintained so that every Russian citizen suffers under it. Who the fuck is that girl? I mean, she got pissed out of her mind and danced with rock stars in a nightclub, and when the videos hit the social media, she's more of upset, and then she made a speech and she cries like a baby about how unfair it is. But yet she makes a statement like this: the sanctions must be kept in place so that every Russian citizen suffers. I don't know. I see that the Swedish Prime Minister is out. The Zelensky curse has struck her. And I don't know who's next, but that chick from Finland, I can't understand how the Finnish people allowed that to happen to them. But yeah, they're all so woke. You can't believe it. And now they are getting their own thing. Their own dogs are biting them. And that is how it works. Well, guys, I want to say thank you very much for the visit. It was nice. And thanks for the questions. And it looks to me that this time spot was a better one. I'll check a few others out. And then I want to change and cheers, Desert G. And I want to change. I want to get better software, but I'm not going to do it now because that software is fairly expensive. It's really expensive, and it's not worth my while to invest in it now. So for now, I'll do my Skidmarks and the recordings, and I'll do a live once a day. And it seems to me that's a great spot, this. Yes, Pieter Tief, goed om jou hier te sien. En dankie vir al die likes, hoor, ek waardeer dit. Nou ja, ek het nou nog so 'n klein jobbie wat ek wil gaan doen daar in my hobby room. Ek werk aan 'n Unimog 6x6 wat ek gister vir hom nuwe wiele opgesit. 'n Pel van my het 'n connection. En hy het vir my die wiele gekry van China af, so ek het dit gister opgesit. Nou lyk daai bakkie na 'n bil, hoor. Hy lyk regtig lekker. Nou, die tyertjies wat hy opgehad het was maar sulke Marie Biscuit wielietjies. Dankie julle. Yes, I will look at a time slot. I'm just trying, to figure out what is a good time. And this one seems to me was a good one, around about, so it looks to me around about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock is a good day, I think. And if I look at the statistics from YouTube, most of my subscribers and viewers are active in the late afternoon from around about 1400 to about 2000. I'm going to try tonight to do something at around about 2000 and see how that works out. In any case, lekker dag vir julle almal en kap het flou, man. Heerlikheid. Ons is gelukkig, dit word nou lente, dit word lekker warm hier by ons en dit is vir ons, ja, dis Suid-Afrika. Ek het onverwagse 5 mm reentjie gehad gister en net genoeg om die grasies nou aan die gang te kry. So, lekker dag vir julle en dankie vir julle support, hoor.